In February 2016, a group of hackers attempted to steal just under $1 billion from the Central Bank of Bangladesh. Not a private bank, not a hedge fund, the central bank of an entire country. They didn't use guns. They didn't step inside a vault. They used an email, a fake identity, and 13 months of patience. And for a moment, it worked. Money started moving, quietly, legitimately, until something almost ridiculous happened. Buried inside one of the transactions was a spelling mistake. One missing letter. That single mistake cost them $870 million. Bangladesh Bank is the central bank of Bangladesh, the institution responsible for managing the country's foreign reserves. But those reserves aren't stored inside the country. Like most central banks, they're held abroad, deposited in one of the most trusted financial institutions in the world, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. That's where the money sits, billions of dollars. And when that money needs to move, it doesn't move physically. There are no trucks, no vaults being opened, just instructions. Digital messages, sent through a system called SWIFT, a global network connecting over 11,000 financial institutions. Inside that system, trust is everything. A single verified message can authorize the movement of millions, sometimes billions, across borders. No questions asked. In early 2016, Bangladesh Bank's account at the New York Fed held nearly $30 billion. And somewhere, someone already knew that. Because by then, the hackers weren't on the outside anymore. They had been inside the bank's systems for months, watching, learning, waiting. And now, they had a plan. In January 2015, over a year before the heist, a man named Russell Alam sends a job application to Bangladesh Bank. Resume, cover letter, a professional profile. Everything looks normal. A bank employee opens the email and downloads the attached file. Nothing unusual. At least, not at first. Because Russell Alam didn't exist. The name was a cover, created by a North Korean state-sponsored hacking group known as the Lazarus Group. The same group later linked to the WannaCry ransomware attack that shut down hospitals around the world in 2017. Their name comes from the biblical figure who rose from the dead, a fitting reference for malware that refuses to stay buried. And with that one downloaded file, they were inside. No alarms, no warnings, just access. Over the next 13 months, they moved quietly through the bank's internal systems, one computer at a time, mapping the network, learning routines, watching how money moved. And what they discovered should have been impossible. Bangladesh Bank's SWIFT terminal, the system used to send billion-dollar transfer orders to the New York Fed, had no firewall. None. The computers were connected directly to the open internet. The network hardware protecting them was cheap, second-hand equipment, the kind you'd expect in a small office, not the central bank of a country. This was a system connected to over $30 billion in foreign reserves, and digitally, it was wide open. There was one more detail, a printer, inside the SWIFT room. Every transaction was automatically printed, a physical record of every transfer, a backup, a safety net. So the hackers planned for that too. They built a kill switch into their malware. When the time came, they could shut that printer down remotely. No firewall, no monitoring, no paper trail. The vault wasn't just vulnerable, it was exposed. Now, all they needed was a way out. In May 2015, 9 months before the heist, while the malware sat quietly inside Bangladesh Bank, watching, learning, something else was happening, hundreds of miles away, in Manila, Philippines. 4 people walk into a branch of the Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, RCBC. They open bank accounts. Everything about it looks routine, until you look closer. The accounts were opened using fake driver's licenses. All 4 account holders listed the exact same job title and the exact same salary. despite supposedly working at completely different companies. A mistake so obvious it should have been caught immediately. But it wasn't. The branch was located on Jupiter Street, in the Makati Financial District. Remember that name. Each account was activated with a small deposit, $500, just enough to keep them alive. And then, nothing. For 9 months, the accounts sat untouched, dormant, waiting. At the same time, the hackers set up a second exit point, this time in Sri Lanka. A bank account connected to the Shalika Foundation, a legitimate, registered charity, quietly repurposed into part of the operation. Now the structure was complete. 2 countries, 4 ghost accounts, 1 NGO. All of it sitting in place, inactive, unnoticed, waiting for a signal. A signal that wouldn't come for 9 more months. By February 2016, everything was ready. The entry point had been secured. The escape routes were in place. Now, they just had to move the money. Late Thursday night, February 4th, 2016. Inside Bangladesh Bank, everything is quiet. The offices are empty. No staff, no one watching. And that's exactly the moment they've been waiting for. Because inside the system, the attackers finally make their move. The malware activates. The first target, the printer, it shuts down. No paper records, no immediate trace. Then the real operation begins. Using employee credentials they've been collecting for over a year, they log in. Not as intruders, but as insiders. Every keystroke they need, already recorded. Every access point, already mapped. Now they use it. Through Swift, one message is sent, then another, then another. 35 transfer instructions. Total value, $951 million. And every single one is flawless. Valid credentials, correct formatting, authorized codes. Nothing looks out of place. To the Federal Reserve in New York, this looks routine, just another day in the system. So the system responds, exactly as it was designed to. It processes the requests, and the money begins to move, quietly, legitimately, across borders, across systems, across the world. And for a moment, everything is working perfectly, until something doesn't. Some of the transfers aren't going where they should. Instead of other banks, they're being routed to private accounts. Sri Lanka, the Philippines. Unusual. Enough to raise a flag. The Federal Reserve tries to confirm the transactions. They call Bangladesh Bank. But it's Friday. No one answers. And from that point on, time starts working against everyone. When employees return on Sunday morning, they notice something is wrong. The Swift terminal is locked, unresponsive. They force it back online. The printer starts again. And suddenly, everything appears. Dozens of transfer instructions, transactions they never approved. They try to contact New York, but now it's the weekend. No response. By the time both sides are finally available, Monday, there's another problem. In the Philippines, it's a public holiday. Banks are closed. 4 days, 3 countries, 3 time zones, all out of sync. Just enough time for the damage to spread. 30 of the 35 transfers are stopped, blocked before completion. But 5 get through. $101 million, gone. 20 million sent to Sri Lanka. 81 million already sitting in Manila. Inside 4 accounts, on Jupiter Street. The same accounts opened months earlier. This was never random. It was planned. The first phase is complete. The money is out. Now, it has to disappear. What stopped most of the money wasn't a cybersecurity team. It wasn't an investigation. It wasn't even intentional. It was a word. A single word. Jupiter. Months before the heist, the attackers had chosen a bank branch in Manila, on Jupiter Street. At the time, it looked like a practical decision, a convenient location, nothing more. But inside the Federal Reserve System, that word meant something else entirely. Because Jupiter was already on a sanctions list, not as a place, but as the name of an Iranian shipping vessel. So when the transfer instructions came through, and the system saw Jupiter Street, it triggered a freeze. Not because anyone recognized the scam, but because the system recognized the word. No human decision, just a flag. And that single coincidence stopped more than $850 million. But not everything was caught in time. Some of the transfers had already gone through before the system reacted. $81 million had already reached Manila, inside the same accounts that had been set up months earlier. And the transfer to Sri Lanka had its own problem, a smaller one, almost invisible. The destination was written as Shalika Foundation, Fundation, missing one letter, one O. A bank employee noticed it, paused, looked again, flagged the transaction. Just like that, $20 million was reversed, returned. So in the end, a street name stopped hundreds of millions. A missing vowel saved 20 million more. And the rest, $81 million, was already in Manila, moving fast. Once the money landed in those 4 accounts on Jupiter Street, it didn't stay there for long. Because this part of the plan was never about holding it. It was about erasing it. The funds started moving almost immediately, from one account to another, split, recombined, redirected. Each transfer designed to blur the trail a little more. Then it was pushed through a currency broker, converted from US dollars into Philippine pesos, deposited again, withdrawn again, some of it in cash. And while all of this was happening, something else quietly worked in their favor. The CCTV system at the RCBC branch was offline. No footage, no record of who came in or what left with them. From there, the money moved out of the bank entirely and into a system that was even harder to trace. Casinos. 2 of them. The Solaire Resort and Casino, one of the largest gaming floors in Asia, and the Midas Hotel and Casino. At first, it seems reckless, moving stolen money through a casino floor, but legally, it was the safest place it could go. Because years earlier, a quiet decision had been made. In 2012, Philippine lawmakers exempted casinos from the country's Anti-Money Laundering Act. No requirement to report suspicious transactions, no obligation to ask questions. Once money entered the system, converted into chips, and came back out as winnings, it was clean, completely legal. The attackers understood this, so they built their escape around it. Roughly $50 million was funneled through Solaire and Midas, high-stakes tables, large bets. Gamblers, mostly Chinese nationals tied to Macau's junket network, moved chips and cash across the floor. On paper, it looked like nothing more than high-roller gambling, routine, unremarkable. But not all of the money followed that path. The remaining $31 million never reached the tables. It was handed over, in cash, to a man named Xu Wei-kong, a Chinese-Filipino national. According to testimony later given before a Philippine Senate committee, he left Manila shortly after receiving it, on a private plane. He hasn't been seen since. And as the money disappeared, the consequences began to surface. RCBC was fined $52.9 million, the largest penalty ever issued by the Philippine Central Bank. Its president resigned. Bangladesh Bank's governor also stepped down. One person was convicted, Maya Santos de Guido, the RCBC branch manager on Jupiter Street, found guilty of money laundering. To this day, she remains the only person imprisoned in connection with the heist. As for the money, very little of it was ever recovered. Out of the $81 million that slipped through, only about $15 million has been returned. The remaining $66 million is gone. The investigation didn't end when the money disappeared. It led somewhere else, somewhere much bigger. Because as analysts began examining the malware used in the attack, they started noticing something unusual. The code didn't look isolated. It felt familiar. Fragments of it had appeared before, in other operations, other breaches, including one that had already made global headlines: the 2014 hack on Sony Pictures, an attack the United States had formally attributed to North Korea. And that connection changed the story entirely, because this was no longer just a financial crime. It wasn't a loose group of hackers. It was something more organized, more deliberate. In 2018, the US Department of Justice named a suspect, Park Jin-hyuk, a programmer believed to be operating under North Korea's Reconnaissance General Bureau, the country's intelligence and cyber warfare division. The Bangladesh bank heist was listed among his alleged operations. But the deeper investigators looked, the clearer the pattern became. US cybersecurity agencies identified a specific unit inside the Lazarus group, a group they called Beagle Boys, a team built for one purpose: target financial institutions. Not to send a message, not to cause disruption, but to generate money. Because North Korea wasn't just hacking for influence, it was hacking to survive. Under international sanctions so severe, its economy had been pushed to the edge. The country turned to cybercrime as a source of revenue. The Bangladesh bank wasn't a random target. It wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a system, a method, a strategy. And it didn't stop there. In the months that followed, similar SWIFT-based attacks began appearing around the world. Vietnam, Ecuador, Taiwan. Different banks, same patterns, same techniques. Then, in May 2017, something even bigger happened. The WannaCry ransomware attack. 200,000 computers infected, across more than 150 countries. Hospitals shut down, entire systems frozen. And once again, the trail led back to the same group. But despite everything that had been uncovered, nothing really changed. No arrests, no shutdown, no real consequences. Park Jin-hyuk was never captured. North Korea was never directly held accountable. Because this wasn't just a hacking group. They were operating with the protection of a state. And that state is still operating today. So what is this story really? At first, it looks like a story about Bangladesh, or the Philippines, or even North Korea. But it isn't. It's about something more uncomfortable. The belief that complexity means security. Because every system in this chain did exactly what it was supposed to do. SWIFT trusted the messages because the credentials were valid. The Federal Reserve processed the transfers because everything looked correct. RCBC opened the accounts because the paperwork checked out. And the casinos accepted the money because the law said they didn't have to ask questions. Nothing was broken. And that's the problem. Because when every part of a system works perfectly, no one stops to question it. And when no one questions it, something can pass through, completely unnoticed. Almost $1 billion nearly disappeared because of that. And what stopped it? Not an investigation, not a global task force, not a cybersecurity breakthrough. A series of accidents. A printer that went offline at the wrong moment. A street name that happened to match a sanctioned ship. A word, foundation, that shouldn't exist. 13 months of planning, state-level resources, a system designed to look legitimate at every step. And in the end, it wasn't force that stopped it. It was imperfection. Small mistakes that broke the illusion. $66 million is still missing. Park Jin-hyuk is still free. And the Lazarus Group, named after a man who came back from the dead, is still out there.